Live.
These people are confused. Just need to love God stronger. Do I love God more? Do I love me? We call it the street Jesus.
Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the path.
And you're listening to Live from the Path, coming from the Pathway Studios here in Youngstown proper.
Hey, Booba.
Go ahead, get it, Mike.
Booba,
What's up?
what is your primary healthcare provider?
My primary healthcare provider?
Yeah, what's the name of them?
Dr. Rabang.
Mine is the Lord Jesus Christ.
Hey, man.
Poor answer, Booba.
I feel like I walked right into that one, and I feel like I might not be trusting in the Lord correctly because I keep going to a small Hispanic man, and you go to a large eternal being.
So I was talking to a guy at work today, and he said his dad got a phone call from a telemarketer, and they asked him who was his primary healthcare provider, and he goes, the Lord Jesus Christ. And they said, how about the second one?
Hey, man,
Is it to say he's the Alpha and Omega? Is that the right answer right there?
I have been here the entire time that the both of you have been here together, and that was not stated. Was that planned out before tonight?
No, I just thought of it right now.
I could feel when some harassment of you was
I was
coming
going to
on.
say, it looked like Ben gave the cue for it, though.
No, yeah. I have an innate sense of when someone's going to give you the whiz bang, and then I agree to it and encourage such a thing.
Hey, man, I have just dealt with that for about 6 years now, so I think I can keep handling that.
I'm here to encourage people.
I like it.
All right, you're listening to Live from the Path, broadcasting at livefromthepath.org here every Monday night, and we thank you for joining us tonight. We're largely doing some advice. Here's the thing: is there's rough times out in the world, and we're here to help. And maybe you're snowed in on the East Coast. Maybe it's actually been snowing pretty well here, and maybe you're snowed in. Anyway, we're here to help. So before you get yourself dug out and make a buffoon out of yourself back into the world, we're here to straighten out your problems.
Yeah, no doubt. I guess it's time to kick it off.
Go ahead, Mike.
Here we go. It's the once a year Live from the Path advice extravaganza. So here we go. Dear Live from the Path, my husband and I have been married 7 years, and I have 2 beautiful children.
Thank you.
Overall, the time we've been together has been wonderful, although we do sometimes argue. On more than one occasion, my husband has shared his concern that I am cheating on him. I've never been unfaithful, nor have I ever given him any reason to think I would be. He's worried because he knows my father was unfaithful to my mother many years ago. We both learned about it because my mother shared it while discussing my brother and his wife. Having had no prior knowledge of this period in my parents' lives, I was shocked. I didn't grow up around it, and I was never taught that cheating is okay. How can I get my husband to stop putting me in the same category as my father? He says he read that cheating is hereditary, so I'm bound to do it. He throws the same accusation at me anytime he gets upset with me. It's starting to affect my hope for our future because I don't think he will ever trust that I love him and don't plan to commit adultery. Signed, not like dear old dad. Yeah, okay. Cheating is not hereditary. You
What?
dumb fool.
You read somewhere that cheating was hereditary?
I'd be surprised if you can read, if that's what you found.
Hereditary.
Yeah, and check his magazine subscriptions.
He's probably subscribed to Cheating is Hereditary Weekly.
Right. Adulterers Monthly.
Boy, I mean, that's really a crappy situation. Obviously, there's something else going on with this dude, right? Like what he's using this either because of there's insecurity somewhere. The question is whether is he doesn't know how to deal with insecurities in his life, so he casts them onto his wife, or he's trying to defer some sort of thought that maybe he's up to. I mean, I don't want to imply he's up to something. I'm just saying
You think he's projecting?
I think he's projecting.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal: is like how, regardless of whether you're the perpetrator, to have it in your family certainly has some sort of like, oh man, I can't believe this has happened in my family, and then to have someone accuse that of you with no ground or anything, like that's a real jerk thing to do.
Yeah, my dad was a cheater. I mean, he multiple times, over and over.
I hear that's hereditary.
I at least it has not happened to me. I mean, I've not. Okay. It's probably made me stronger, freaky stronger against any sexual sin than anything because of what I saw in my dad.
Yeah.
You know, so I tend to go like I've reacted strongly the other direction.
Well,
That's just me, but
I mean, there is something. It's not completely out of balance to say if it's happened in your family, because I mean, some of your upbringing, the person that you turn out to be, some of that is environment.
Right. It's not physical heredity. It's not heredity.
Yeah, it's not like passed in your DNA genes, but like in an environment where sex and marriage is treated.
It's modeled in family values.
Yes, I mean, yeah. When it doesn't have much value, then yeah, I mean, maybe you could do some inferring there. But I mean, seriously, like that's not even a logical thought process. And obviously, I think you're right. I think smokers can find other smokers, and cheaters like to, they like to look at behavior and go, "That's what I would do," or "That's what I would be thinking of doing." And so I feel like he's just belaying his own guilt.
I think the first sentence in the thing is actually pretty telling. I mean, they've been married for 7 years, and that's a pretty typical time in a marriage for the couple to start getting a kind of itch that's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, the marriage is kind of weird at that point. So it might be a good time just for the two of them to even just check in with a marriage counselor and just say, hey, here's what's been going on. We want to just, it's like taking your car in for a tune-up. It's just something that's useful for regular maintenance. And if they're at the 7-year mark, then it's a useful thing to do.
Yeah. Well, so if you had to give advice to, let's say a party in this situation, like, is there anything you could? Let's say the guy is a little bit nutty. You know what I'm saying? He's a little bit. Let's say he's not cheating on his wife, but he is very suspicious that she might be cheating on him. What can she do to help ease that? You have to be willing to put all your cards on the table. And so whatever amount of privacy you thought you had, or whatever amount of personal space you thought you had, I feel like if you want to stay in that relationship or stay in that marriage, you have to be willing to give it up for a little while. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't erase your internet browsing history. You don't erase your text messages. And before you do, because you're running low on space on your phone, you say, look, I need to erase my text messages. I'm running low on space. Do you want to look them over? I'll go in the other room. You just have a look and see what's going on, right? Like, it's all on the table. You can open my mail. There's nothing private to me right now because I need this trust back from you. I need you to feel this way. And, like, I feel like if you are willing to give that up, you're A, not cheating, obviously, and B, like, it really does show something. Now, granted, should you have to do that? Probably not. But, like, in a situation where there's a lack, what are you losing, right? A little bit of privacy. You're going to see your wife's going to see a bad joke that you sent your buddy or whatever. Like, I don't care. I feel like that's completely all on the table as far as your marriage is concerned, and you got to throw all that to the wind and just say, look, my life is an open book. You do whatever you have to do so you can feel better and more secure in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, as harsh as the accusation itself is, what you do have to come to some realization of is, like, what kind of life does your husband live where you're not doing anything, but he lives under a constant fear that you are? Like, take it off of your own shoulders, because if you're not guilty, you're not guilty. And just think, like, what type of, he's living a bad existence, right, with that type of fear and concern. And so, like, that's a guy to pray for, right? That's a guy to encourage and try to find ways to help, because even if I am the party who is being wronged on his accusation, he's still living a junk existence with a heavy insecurity that someone that's close to him is not being faithful. And so can I look at him even with sympathetic eyes and pray and work to bring him to a point where he's feeling more confident, because that has to stink. And for someone I care about, I simply don't want them to feel that way. And so it's difficult because the accusation is at you, but, like, trying to distance yourself from how he's wrong and just recognize that the impact to him is that his existence stinks, may help reframe how you react to it, so it no longer becomes a personal thing, because it really isn't a personal thing. It's not a personal issue. You're not doing anything, and so now it's just something that he's struggling with that he needs help.
Yeah, and actually, I think some of these, it kind of leads open to some other problems that I tend to hear a lot in people's marriages is, like, they haven't agreed on their absolutes, right? The things that are important in their marriage and personally, like, important to each other. And then they start to argue on things that aren't negotiable, right? Like, sometimes I'll talk to fellas, where their wife is very upset at them because they're not home enough. They're like, I need my husband to be home. I want you to spend more time with me. And the dude's classic defense is always, well, someone has to make money around here. Someone has to be out working and making cash, And, like, I always when I talk to him about this kind of stuff, I'm like, have you guys agreed on what your absolutes were? Because the truth is like, someone does have to probably make money at your house, but not the amount of money that you're currently making to support the lifestyle that you've set up, right? Like, is your house on the table to make these things better for your wife? Is your car available to trade in for not quite a fancy model, right? Are you willing to live in an apartment opposed to a house to make this thing work? You know what I'm saying? And they're like, well, I guess I wouldn't even have thought about that as negotiable, right? And all these things are absolutely negotiable when it comes to how to make your your wife and your family work. And so if you're not willing to put those on the table, you're saying that my definition as, say, a mechanic or a banker or a construction guy is way more important than what my marriage looks like at home, which means that you're not willing to give up as much as you thought you were. Secular's advice here. Secular says, I don't know what your husband read that adultery is hereditary, but it's time you ask to see the source of his misinformation because it's wrong. You are not responsible for your father's behavior. Yeah, I'd like to see exactly where this came from.
What periodical are you frequently?
Please cite your sources.
I picked up a pamphlet at the bank.
Ancestry.com.
Says you are not responsible for your father's behavior, and your husband to imply that because your father strayed you will is frankly insulting. If you are accused of infidelity any time there's a disagreement, you two aren't getting to the root of what's really wrong in your marriage, and it's time to get professional marriage counseling. Yeah, I agree. Man, more family stuff. Ready?
Yeah.
Dear Life from the Path. We just hosted the family for our annual post-Christmas get-together. My brother-in-law's girlfriend of many years was on her cell phone during the cocktail hour. Oh, no. The entire dessert course, and the gift exchange. When I mentioned to my husband how rude she was, he told me she had been checking football scores and commenting while my daughter was playing the violin song her ensemble had played for the holiday concert.
What?
Here it comes. I never answer my phone when I'm entertaining guests because they are where my attention should be. My daughters have been taught that it's rude to be on the phone during dinner and when guests are over. How can I nip this in the bud without causing a rift with my brother-in-law, whom I love dearly? If pseudo-auntie doesn't want to socialize with people she has been invited to be with, she should stay home. Offended in New Jersey.
Stop being offended.
Yeah, is this one of the things where like you're right but you're wrong?
Yeah.
He's right. Right. That's rude. Yes. The energy you've put into being wronged in the matter seems to be a little excessive.
She is hyper correct on this and has to have everyone else be absolutely correct on this, or she is offended. She needs to understand that this person is a person. They've been invited to her get together, and as long as she's being, courteous and a good hostess, that's good. She doesn't need to just stop inviting this gal or even bring it up.
Wait, it's not a dude?
No, it's a lady.
Oh,
She said my brother-in-law's girlfriend.
No, I thought the offendee was a lady, but I thought the offended was a dude. No.
No, the offended is a gal. She talked about her husband, didn't she?
It's a pair of gals. Lady.
I don't pay attention. Okay, continue on.
Yeah. So she's doing a great job being a great hostess, and she needs to leave it at that.
Yeah, she needs to focus on the people who are paying attention and engaged and
yeah, great job. Great job.
Can't
being a great
micromanage
hostess.
everybody,
Yeah, offended in New Jersey. You're probably just gonna have to stay offended or just move past it.
Would you bring it up to the brother-in-law?
No.
Here's the thing. Some people are just waiting for poor behavior out of other people so they can shine and be better. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't ever do that.
Did you notice how great my behavior was?
Oh, wait, actually, she had to have already brought it up to the brother-in-law because he said she was checking football scores.
She brought it up to her husband.
Oh.
And her husband was the one who said she was checking football scores and was on her phone during her daughter's violin.
Well, okay. Well, someone's already brought it up then.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the deal. It's like sometimes I do rude things and I don't recognize that I'm rude. And like sometimes someone needs to say, "Hey, man, we're chatting. You want to put your phone down?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, shoot, yeah, you're right." And like I'm not offended by it because sometimes I do get engaged in things that I shouldn't be engaged in. I don't know that I'd be as invested as she is, but I don't know that it's not worth saying, "Hey, man, use phone during the violin. Dig on the violin."
But that's not what this is, right? Like it's not to make that person better or invest in them. It's to basically say, I do great things. This other person does crappy stuff.
No, that's true. She made sure to point out, I never use my... Okay, yeah.
It's a really self-righteous
It would have
statement.
been better if she hadn't added that. I mean, because at the same point, if your concern is, boy, why don't you engage in the family? You're not in the family yet. Are you? It's a girlfriend, so it's like they're not married. This is the time you're supposed to kind of be feeling people out and kind of, do you even want to be a part of this family? So it's her loss, really, the gal who's on the phone.
Yeah, but who says that this is the time to do it? What
Well,
if they
once
just
you're
don't do
married,
that
you're
with
stuck.
anybody?
I
That's
mean-
just kind of their personality. I mean, granted, yeah, they're missing out on life, and they're also missing on relationships that they could have. But they just walked in the door here, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Is it time to start throwing the slaps at them and say, listen, you do terrible things?
Well, I mean, like when you're going for hours on your phone, ignoring everything, it's like, okay, a conversation. It doesn't have to be judgmental even. Just say, hey, we sure would like to get to know you, but you're in the phone all the time. I've had that conversation before with boyfriends.
I definitely
my
wouldn't
girls.
want to get to know that person after they called me out on that, though.
That's okay.
Like it might. I'm trying to think of this. So this is my.
We've established that.
Well, nice. So I'm trying to think of this. So this would be in my situation. Would be my brother-in-law's girlfriend. I can't imagine having any actual investment in that relationship. Like I don't find myself.
That's
trying
true.
to
She's
get
a
to
little
know
more
that person.
removed from
Yeah,
it's not like your future.
Yeah, it's not her
daughter-in-law.
Right,
or
it won't be
something.
her
It's-
future
it's
daughter-in-law. It's not going to be her sister-in-law. It's actually her brother-in-law
That's a good point.
by marriage, his girlfriend. So
whether
like,
they
I
get
just
married
don't
or not, whether they like you or not, really doesn't matter.
Yeah, like I
You
just
might
don't see
them once a
myself
year at
getting
Christmas or-
invested enough to even make the comments. Like I can understand. You're right. It is socially rude. Like you've been on your phone for hours. I don't think anyone's disagreeing with that. I just think it's from the perspective of, are you really that invested in that relationship to bring it up?
I would just call it. I would just call her phone. I would keep calling it. Hey, I wanted to talk to you.
Hey, I'm in the kitchen.
Just keep calling the phone.
Yeah, like if she's on it, I would just dial it up, and she
She's
would.
on Facebook. She gets a text from you. Hey, did you notice my daughter's violin there? It was great. Didn't you?
Were you recording that?
Were you hearing that?
So if you wanted to do this right and you knew that that's what she was doing, right? I would just walk by her and say, hey, tell me the scores every 5 minutes, will you? Tell me if you're going to keep an eye on them, will you let me know what the deal is? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Now
engage
you've
her
made
in
a
that
friend.
way.
Now you have made a friend with them. They still get to check the scores, but now they get to talk to you and act like you're in cahoots or something.
And maybe they're more comfortable now where they don't need to be on their phone.
I'm just saying, give them some stairs to get out. You don't
Yeah.
just grab them with the rope and start yanking. Secular says, I agree with you that pseudo auntie's behavior was rude, and I don't blame you for feeling upset about it. I do not think that it should cause a rift if you were to tell your brother-in-law and his girlfriend that using her cell phone during the dinner you worked so hard to prepare and during your daughter's violin recital caused hurt feelings. I tell them that in the future.
I do not think it will cause a rift if you're a martyr.
Yeah. I hate to break this to you, but you decimated my daughter's heart.
And I worked so hard on this turducken.
Yeah.
Did that during cocktail hour.
And I birthed this kid 9 years ago, and we paid for a violin. Yeah, that's self-righteous.
Tell them that in the future you would like her to leave her phone elsewhere during family gatherings in your home. Yeah, boy, that was probably the worst
That
way
is
possible.
awful advice.
Here's the thing, because you're not putting the you're not keeping your love on. You know what I'm saying? You're not working at a connection with somebody. You're looking to tell them where you were right and they were wrong.
Right. It's important that I'm understood here.
That's right.
That's quite the relationship you're building.
These are my conditions for you to enter my household.
Exactly.
Also, by the way, let me exemplify how great I am.
You have the freedom to be exactly who you are in my home, except for all these things. You're going to be exactly like me when you come in here.
Hey, you know, I run into that quite a bit, actually. I remember I go in a house one time, and they were like, don't smoke. There's an oxygen tank in here. I'm like, keep your love on.
I feel like that might not be apples to apples.
I stormed out.
Those are two very different things.
I dumped my pipe on the ground, and I left.
Here we go.
Keep your love on.
This one appears to have to do with what's the etiquette on changing stylists, hairdressers. So that'll be very interesting.
I will speak to this.
Dear Life from the Path, how does one break up with a hairdresser? I'm not unhappy with, parentheses, Flossie, my current one, but I'd like to try someone else for a change of pace. I know people of both sexes who have stayed with hairstylists they are unhappy with because they can't break themselves to break up. So I know I'm not alone in this dilemma. I'd love to hear from hairdressers how they would prefer this to be handled. Do they take it personally? Well, heck yeah, they do.
Well, yeah. I no longer want your specific services.
Yeah, I don't trust you with this part of my life. It's going to shine a little bit.
It's personal. I don't know that it's a deep wound, but it's certainly personal.
Yeah.
I think it depends on like, is it in a shop that the person owns, or are they just one on staff of a large
Consortium of stylists.
You're not
place?
worried about leaving Jenny at the Great Clips. Like, that's not a big deal.
I would, because in that case you just don't go back. Don't make the next appointment.
How
Right, gentlemen,
scared of life do you have to be? Like, let's say you don't go back to this person. Like, there's 300 million plus people in the United States, and your concern is that you run into her. She recognizes that your hair is done up and that she
carrying
didn't do
scissors.
it, and is aghast.
Gentlemen, I've run into this. I'm not proud of saying this, by the way, but I've run into this specific situation.
Did you flee?
I had to break up with a hairstylist.
How did it go?
And I go to church with said hairstylist. And I kind of just stopped showing up. And I showed up one day with my hair done up in a certain way, and she was not the one who did it.
Right. Uh-huh.
And she kind of looked at me, and I looked back at her thinking, well, here it is, boys. Here's the situation.
And how did it
And
go?
we kind of just went, eh. And we walked past each other, and that was exactly what had happened.
Have you spoken with her since?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay.
No problems. However, the fact that she's part of my church family might have been a little different because I've known her for like 10 years.
You did kind of handle it like a pansy, though.
Yeah, but I didn't think about it at the time. Like, I just thought to myself, hey, I got a guy who recommended another person, and, like, he really, really recommends this dude that, like, he knows what he's doing. And so I'm going to go to them.
Maybe she just assumed getting hair done by another person is hereditary.
Maybe. Was I a
old man
hairstylist adulterer? Yeah, so I kind of I stopped making appointments, and then I started in another website. That's the whole thing that happened for me.
Actually, I tell you what, it feels worse on the other end. Like, I've had my hairstylist stop cutting
Leave
hair,
you?
and I was devastated. I mean, like, I had no idea what to do when I went to another hairstylist. Like,
yeah.
they would say, hey, how would you like your haircut? I'm like, I don't know.
Regular.
I don't know.
Call Rachel. She knows me.
It is like trying to date another woman after your wife, right? You spend so much time, you know the people's quirks. They know how to deal with you. You don't have to put on airs, and then you show up. It's like you're dating somebody new.
It is. They're like asking about how many kids do you have. I'm like, I don't have to discuss this stuff with Jen. She just cuts my hair.
What social weirdos are you guys that turns into a weird
Oh, it's
situation?
terrible. I can't take it. I tried to get.
It's called building a relationship.
I tried to get my hairstylist to write down what needs to happen so I can just hand the card over and be like,
awesome.
do these things.
Like the meat slicer thickness at the Walmart.
Like I could just order the standard mic, whatever. But then every
The
time I
standard mic.
go to the new hairstylist and they're like, you have 2 weird bumps on your head. I'm like, yeah, no, they're fatty deposits. I'm supposed to get them removed. The other lady doesn't bring it up anymore. So, will you just cut my hair? She's like, do you want a tapered or this and that? I'm like, I don't know your hairstyling lingo. Just make me look better than I did when I came in.
You say you have 2 fatty deposits? Whatever. All right, never mind.
Yeah, it
I
makes
used
it
to
very
go
hard.
when I was a kid. I went to different ones every time, and whatever. I don't know. We had no standard, and I'd go through the whole story every time. They're like, "Do you know your hair grows forward?" I'm like, "Yeah, yep." They tell me that every time, and like that gives them challenges instead of growing backwards, it grows forward or something. And anyway, that's.
Have
my
you ever
story.
let it grow really long so it goes way forward and
It used
covers
to.
your
It
eyes
used
Like a
to be
a shiny
unicorn
dog?
horn in front of you?
I used to.
Sweet deal.
Yeah. I used to have it pretty long in the back too, and
Are you admitting a mullet?
Hey man,
it was mullet-ish.
we've been doing this show for almost 6 years, and I've never heard that your hair grows forward.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to admit all of a
I
sudden.
don't talk about it a lot. It's kind of personal.
You can
No,
look
that's-
at it.
It just goes forward.
Yeah.
That's why I put gel in it and I just go backwards.
It's
and
not
then
that
just
you
kinda-
have maybe your forehead is just at a decline, like a Neanderthal.
It used to be like super thick, like carpet, and they used to love like, oh, it's like carpet. I'm like, I hear that every time. Thank you.
What was that voice, Dan?
I was a creepy hairstylist.
like Gargamel.
It was sometime in the '90s. I started cutting it short because I used to keep it pretty long all the time, and then it was so easy. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing the short thing. And so it's been short for a long time now.
Boy, okay. So anyway,
Ben, what's your hairstylist like?
Excuse me, I buzz my hair in the bathroom on my lonesome.
I did the Baptist part on the side for a while too. That was pretty sexy.
The only thing I don't do is I
non-Baptist.
I have my wife clean up the back of my neck because
yeah.
I can't get it quite right, and it curls. So like I would have dog shaved every other part of my head, and then I just have these curls in the back. So my wife kind of straightens that out. But other
that's
than that,
unsightly.
yeah.
Hey, man, when I used to shave my head, I ran into so many situations where I was awful at doing it. Like, there's a trial and error period of when you start shaving your head for the first time. Like, it looked like someone, like, hacksawed the back of my head, and I had all kinds of, like, hair patches and stuff like that, but no one would break the social contract that they felt they had and would tell me. And I'd get home and I'd look at it after a whole day, and I'd just be like, people were probably staring at me thinking I'm some mental patient that tried to just take a razor to the back of my head and just figure things out in life, right? It was awful.
I've always told everybody that I think you should shave yourself bald at least once, so that way if you go blind, you know the deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can just get shaved bald once you're blind and be like, at least you know what you look like. Otherwise, you're at the mercy of other people styling your hair, and they could make you look like a buffoon.
Hey, man,
Every
that's
time
a
I let
really
my
good
wife
thought.
comb my hair, she tries to make me look like Andre Agassi from the 80s. I mean, it's a disaster. Trying to put product in it and stuff. I'm like, who is this guy in the mirror? I don't even know this man. So the best move is to just shave yourself bald, and that way, if you were to, unfortunately, go blind in the future, you'd be like, just shave me bald. At least I know what I look like.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me.
I look like Uncle Fester.
Yeah, maybe not you, Booba. You should go with a wig. Let's see. Secular says,
Donald
did we
Trump
have
wig.
really any good advice on breaking up with the hairstylist?
Go somewhere else.
Yeah, just do it. It's a business relationship. Don't be socially awkward and feel like you have to go and date your new hairstylist. Walk into the new establishment, go, hey, this is my first time here. Let me talk to you.
Do you feel like you have to, like if you've been going for X number of years, that you have to say something like I'm going somewhere else, or you just stop showing up?
I feel like it might be nice to do.
If
Yeah.
it's been years, right? Like, wouldn't they start to think about you?
You
Hey,
would
I
have
wonder
an
where
actual
Ben's at.
relationship.
I would do that for a butcher. Like, and that's not just because it's me and food, but
I think it is.
Yeah, I would do that for a butcher. Like if I went to one butcher and he knew how to make my ham sandwiches, like the best way.
The only butcher I'm aware of is on the Brady Bunch.
You know that's an actual profession and they exist, right?
I know.
Okay, cool beans.
Styrofoam and a Hy-Vee.
Go,
Yeah.
go to Fairway.
Yeah, there's plenty of places that they're actual butchers and they'll talk to you about all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
I would do that for a butcher. If I went to the same butcher for years, I would switch it up and say, "Hey, man, Sammy, I'm going to the new place."
I'm taking me and my loins are going to another
Exactly.
man.
Hey, man, you've done my brisket well for years,
Have
and
you
I
guys
greatly
ever-
appreciate you.
Ever heard of a cut of meat called a joint of meat?
Yes.
A joint of meat?
Have you really?
No,
Is that a is
That's
is
illegal
that a
in
Middle
Utah.
Eastern thing?
it's legal in most
No,
places.
it's I don't know exactly what
Yeah,
part it is, but
only
I've heard of it, yeah.
cows in the Middle East
Yeah.
have a joint.
Well, here's the thing: is I was we were
Eating
reading
just
up on
ligaments.
how a microwave actually cooks food, and they said like you can cook a joint of meat like 5 times as fast in a microwave opposed to an oven.
And it called it like, is it a unit of measurement or is it a cut?
I'm not sure about that. That's why I was asking.
I'm gonna look it up.
Give me 2 joints. You know what I'm saying?
That just sounds
Yeah,
like
Depends on what part of town you're in. That could go well or not well.
Pass the joint, yeah. Hey, even at the Walmart meat counter, that's 50-50.
Maybe
it might
Spike.
be like a leg or something.
Maybe
like
Spike Lee's joint is like a
parts
meat
of
market.
the knee.
Anyway, here we go. Secular says, this is Secular's advice here. Some do take it personally, I'm sure. If you have a personal as well as business relationship with Flossie, she may feel hurt that you're leaving. However, it is not a sin to want to try someone else. It depends on what context of relationship you're talking about. It happens all the time in that business. My advice is to call Flossie in advance and let her know you won't be coming so she can schedule someone else in that time slot. Then try the other stylist. That way, if you don't like that stylist's work, you can return to Flossie with no hard feelings. Yeah, right.
She's going to know you went somewhere else.
Yeah, she's gonna see your hair.
Yeah.
My barber has accused me of going to other barbers before. Maybe he thinks that adultery is hereditary.
But it wasn't true?
No, it wasn't true. He was like, "Hey, man, did someone mess up my hard part?" I'm like, "No, dude." He goes, "Did you have someone else touch your hair?" I'm like, "Nice guy, I didn't do it. I promise." I call him Nice Guy. That's his name. I said, "I promise I didn't do that." He goes, "Good," because I would have been upset.
Hey,
So maybe I have that vindictive barber right now that, like, if he ever finds out if I go to a different place, he'll find me.
You don't want to make the barber mad.
He's the size of my left leg. I'm not super worried about
A
it. but still.
hairdresser, okay. They have razors.
hey, and they're also mobile. Yeah, they're like
Oh,
they're
man.
nomads.
Holy cats!
You're gonna find a rabbit cooking on your
Right?
stove. I mean,
It's
seriously.
like, what's this horse's head doing in my?
They're gypsy folk,
doing my
Bubba. You
bed?
must be
They're
careful.
gypsy folk. Oh man, I'm gonna call
They
him out for
travel
that.
around making money.
Hey man, here's the deal. I will have a conversation with my barber the next time I go in, which should be a few weeks from now. I'm gonna ask him how he feels about someone no longer coming to him and going to somebody else.
Yeah.
We're gonna get an answer from an actual barber.
Okay, check it out. I'll talk to
Move
myself
on the
about
streets.
in the bathroom with the dog hair clippers. Go ahead, Mike.
All right. This one might be up our alley, boys. Dear Life from the Path. I was raised in the Christian faith by my pastor parents. As I reached my early teens, I realized that those beliefs didn't really fit,
Oh, no.
and I gradually stopped attending church. I stayed away all through college. My time away only solidified that, in terms of belief, Christianity wasn't for me. After I graduated this year, I realized I missed the community and the ritual of the faith and the church. There are a number of churches in my area, but I feel guilty attending one when I don't believe in the same thing as the other members. My family always taught me to be considerate of the beliefs of the people around me, and it seems dishonest to go to a service and listen to prayers my heart doesn't embrace. I'd like to attend church. Have you any suggestions for what might be a good course of action? Should I go to church or stay home?
I guess I don't quite get it. You think that the beliefs are something, or you think the beliefs are nothing? Because
No,
if they're nothing, then why regard it?
I think she just
Why
likes
care?
having friends.
How are you really gonna?
I mean, isn't this the truth of most folks who end up outside of the church? Is they want the benefits of a relationship and a kingdom lifestyle without actually being in the kingdom and following the king.
Yeah, it sounds like this gal wants to take advantage. Oh, guy or gal, I can't remember, but they want to take advantage of like being around people because it's it's a positive feeling in their life and they enjoy that, but they don't want any of the strings that come with that of actually having a real relationship with those people and a relationship with the God that they're representing.
Hey man,
think
I get that.
It sounds like he wants the relationship with the people,
Yeah.
just not with God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
He wants the community. He wants Cheers.
Found a coffee shop.
Because he likes the people, he likes the interaction.
Here's this cannot be a surprise to us. God creates good community. How can we be surprised that somebody wants
I'm
it?
not surprised by it. It's just
Kiwanis Club down the road, although they pray.
It's not. Here's the deal. It's not as good as God's community. That's why people are drawn to it.
I say all four come to the church.
So what I'm saying is that like people of course are drawn to things that God's people produce or involved in because God's things are good. That's why people want to be married. That's why people engage in God's institutions, if you want to think of them that way. They're positive things that people want to be part of. That's why they'll fight for them. The truth is they're missing the undergirding from them. But those institutions ultimately do point to God, and so I'd say go.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd say I wouldn't disagree with that. I think just the surprising thing is the honesty behind the statement of I have no desire to have the relationship with the God that they're offering. I don't believe in any of the faith, and I'm going to completely go against that. But I'd like to hang out with them and enjoy their company. Most people are willing to play it fake and go, oh yeah, like I want to be in this church, and I believe in your God, blah blah blah, and they're willing to play that fake role to be a part of that community.
They'll run into Jesus. Here's the you.
Agreed. Yeah, no, go to church.
I would go to a different brand than whatever he was raised in, because it could be, we're assuming a good, solid Bible-believing church type of thing. It could be a church that's really no regard for Scripture. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe I wouldn't believe in the God they preach either.
Hold on. Now you got to put this in relation to what she's actually asking, because you're coming at it from we're in the church. Yeah, come on in, no problem, right? Mm-hmm. But like she's basically saying, I really like the community involved with Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm not an alcoholic myself, but I just like going to the meetings and hanging out with everybody involved. I don't believe in a word they're saying. None of it really applies to me, but I just like to be in the group.
Yeah, she's mistaken. It'll help.
Mm-hmm. You don't go to a church because you got everything all figured out and because you're already clean.
Yeah, but once again, you're looking at it from the church side, saying, "Hey, come on in." Right? We as a community don't have any issue with that. Would the Alcoholics Anonymous guys have a problem with someone who's not an alcoholic just showing up to soak up the community time
hold on.
and not there for the same
Well,
reason?
maybe, but that's not what she's asking. So
You're talking about different businesses there.
yeah, here's the thing of this.
But
way,
they're not different to her.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. She wants to come to the church. Great. We want her to come to the church. Great. I don't know what we're arguing about.
Because she's not asking the church, she's asking secular.
And secular says, hey, if the church wants you to be there and you want to be there, sounds like a double win.
Yeah.
Go in. What are you going to accidentally get baptized or something? Like
I tripped and fell.
It'll shake out.
Look, at some point, your differing objectives might come into some sort of conflict. You can resolve it at that point.
Like maybe you can eventually become an alcoholic, and then you could fit in with the group.
Here's the deal.
I'm having trouble with the metaphor.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like you, we want people to go out and love people like Christ loved us. Basically, through the community, have people come to know Jesus.
Yeah.
She wants to come in here and be part of that community, not knowing Jesus.
But
that seems like the thing we go hit the streets to find.
Yeah, but she's not asking if the community will accept her, because
It's-
she already knows the answer to that.
Right. So it's irrelevant. The distinction you're trying to make is completely irrelevant because it's a question that nobody cares about. She wants to go and enjoy the community. The community wants to go. Will welcome her. Done.
They've got
Communities-
common ground. They can build a relationship on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the community is hoping that in her involvement in the community, she'll catch Jesus.
Yeah, because the truth is, the things that she wants about that community, she ultimately finds in Christ. She just doesn't know that. Yeah, this is fine.
Secular says, you don't have to stay at home.
Yeah.
Instead,
Mike's wrong.
you don't have to stay
Have you
at
been
home.
wrong your whole life? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I can wait this out way longer than you can.
This is going to be a great show. It's going to be silence after this.
No,
Here's the
this is fine.
thing. She's actually not that unique in the church. There are a lot of people who struggle with and against God with their spiritual walk. I mean, here we are 5 guys, and half of us are fighting for our kingdoms against God, even though we're actually fighting with God and we want to surrender our kingdoms.
Which half?
It's God is constantly coming in and saying, "Oh, you think this is a limit that I can't overcome? Yeah, right. Your life is mine. It always has been, and watch how I can redeem it." So her position's really not all that different from ours. She just thinks it is.
Eric, I felt like you shot me a glance when you said that whole fighting for your own kingdom thing.
I was looking at all of us, actually.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, just checking. Mike, what's secular say?
You don't have to stay home. Instead, explore a denomination that has no dogma or creed. One in particular, Unitarian Universalism, has been mentioned before in this column. Unitarian Universalists believe in the dignity and worth of every human being and encourage and support others in following their personal spiritual paths. If you'd like to visit, more information, blah, 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 blah.
Did she just give out the website?
I was going to say.
Yeah. Secular's advice is to go to the Universalist, Unitarian Universalist Church. Problem solved.
So now here's what's interesting is that her desire to go to a church versus any other social institution, right? To Dan's point, like Kiwanis is down the road, right? So like, what is it about? Like I know I would know what it is about a church that is appealing, but it is interesting for her to say like I like the community aspect. Why don't I join the Lions Club? I have extra pairs of glasses. They have meetings set up. We can come together on this thing. So like I wonder what it is about church that she seems to want to be a part of when, I mean, there are plenty of other alternative, like, the Unitarian church, it's just a gathering of people, right? Under a common belief or lack of belief or a blanket of beliefs. And so there's a lot of things that could be that thing.
Yeah, but she commented, or she or he, I really don't know at this point in time, commented that she grew up in the church, right? And
Yeah.
so that could be something that she's trying to latch back onto, is that she at one point in time had that community, but through her own admission, she grew up and then grew away from those beliefs and things like that. But she remembers the community that she had with that church, and that could very well be the draw that brings her back.
Just because it's got the fond memories.
Yeah, you know.
But I mean, isn't she trying to hook up with a group of people that share her belief in non-belief? You know what I'm saying? The whole point of asking this question was, I don't really believe in the core values of what's going on here. And Secular has said, well, why don't you get around a bunch of other like-minded folks who don't have a belief in anything either? So it's not really just for the genuine community issue. She's still trying to point her to have something in common with the group that she's attending.
Yeah, I guess all I'm saying is that you can get that anywhere. So, like, it doesn't even have to be the Unitarian church, right? Like, she's right about that belief structure, but, like, it's just another social group. Go to the bar. I'm like, there's plenty of places to
join
get
a book
community.
club.
All right, Dear Life from the Path. Floral delivery fee gives friend a fright. Oh, boy. Dear Life from the Path, the mother of a friend recently passed away. I wanted to send a nice plant to the funeral home and was shocked at how much it cost to have a small plant delivered. Is it a no-no to buy a beautiful plant and deliver it to the funeral home yourself?
No.
No.
What?
Why would that be a problem? Like, hey, is it a problem if I do that more personally?
Well, I mean, they don't even have to know it. You just take it to the funeral home. Say, this is for the Jones
Yeah, exactly.
funeral.
I don't want to pay the delivery charge.
Oh,
Sorry, it's fine.
I don't like the premise, but yeah, just be more personal. Just show up.
They don't know who brought it. I mean, there's a funeral. There's just a bunch of plants and flowers that they don't know who brought them.
Yeah, like you have to put a name card on there if you like. If it's dedicated from like a group of people,
Right,
like
but
that
I mean,
can
they don't know
happen,
who
but-
delivered it.
Well, yeah, right.
You'd still get that card if you bought the
Yeah,
plant.
that's true.
Yeah.
You gonna shake down the casket and be like, how many of these were delivered by hand as opposed by a legit delivery
No, I'm
man?
not. I'm saying that there's no problem with hand delivering it.
Yeah.
I don't think I would even notice if there were no plant life whatsoever at a family member's funeral. So I'm
Yeah,
not sure why this is even a consideration.
I don't recall who sent flowers to the funerals that I've been to.
Yeah.
Is that why you haven't sent the thank you card?
Yeah, I never sent those things.
I want my flower back.
Yeah,
I was in a bad way, Dan. My bad.
Secular says, if it's a no, I've never heard about it. Delivered would stretch your budget. By all means, take it over before the viewing. Commemorate the death of your friend's mother. Thoughtful and beautiful. Yeah, okay. I mean, are they just worried like... Delivered would stretch your budget. By all means, take it over before the viewing. Commemorate the death of your friend's mother. Thoughtful and beautiful. Yeah, okay. I mean, are they just worried like... $25, and so the moment didn't mean anything to you? Like the price tag on what happened here? Like, I'd send flowers, but that's too expensive. And
Well-
you didn't mean enough.
Nice little $25 plant. You're thinking, okay. All of a sudden, you're like, whoa, I wasn't prepared for that. And that's probably what's going on. That's all. I mean,
Deliver the flowers.
yeah. I have
I rarely see her. Never talk with her and receive polite refusals to do anything together. I know the move me, but I'm really hurt and I manage. It seems like that friendship. Should I simply leave my old friend alone, or is there something you can suggest? I'm only doing what I feel I can enjoy and manage.
So the friend is saying that spending time with this person is not a part of the things that she can enjoy and manage.
Sure.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like she wants to hang out with you at all.
Yeah.
move on.
Like if I was
Sorry.
a friend of 25 years, I feel like I could be honest and say, hey, I'm busy or I'm doing something. And this person sounds like they're just flat out trying to avoid you.
Some people are just better long distance friends.
Yeah.
I mean,
It sounds like whoever it is, they just need space. So
Yeah.
at the very least, give them space. They might sometime get over this period of their life and realize, hey, I really want to reconnect.
Yeah.
You can leave the door open for that. But
Right. Love on them where you are, but from a distance and without them knowing about it.
Okay. Well, here's Secular's advice. Write Violet a short, sweet note. Tell her that you care about her, have always treasured her friendship, and hope it will continue. Let her know that when she feels like talking, you will be there for her. It's really all you can do at this point. After all, the ball will be in her court, and you should not sit by the phone waiting for a call. Go on with your life and your other friendships as before. If she responds, terrific. If not, it will be her loss. Do not make it yours.
How does Secular know that it would be her loss?
Yeah, I mean,
I think she's patronizing her.
Kind of funny. All right.
All right, here we go. What was the purpose of King Agrippa's trip to Caesarea? Under categories Kings of the Bible, this is a 12-point quiz on King Agrippa.
this is to listen to Paul
Uh,
to make a decision on
so-
his behalf.
So here's your options. What was the purpose of King Agrippa's trip to Caesarea? 1, to salute Festus. 2, to salute Caesar. 3, to salute Herod. 4, to salute Pilate.
Caesar.
Festus.
Agrippa's trip to Caesarea. Festus, Caesar, Herod, or Pilate? Who's he saluting?
I said Caesar.
I'm going blank.
I'm
is
sticking
n-
with Festus.
It is not Caesar.
It's
He
not
wasn't
Caesar.
there.
And it wouldn't be
It
Pilate.
wasn't Pilate
So
either.
it's Festus.
Too low
I'm going to
rank.
go Festus.
I get,
Festus sounds a lot like Gunsmoke.
he is Herod, so it's Festus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Process of elimination.
It's Festus.
Why is it
He
not
was
Caesar?
One of the Herods. Yeah.
Just from my own knowledge. Why is it not Caesar?
Caesar was in Rome.
Yeah. Paul travels to Caesar after dealing with Agrippa and Festus.
all right.
Yeah, it's Festus.
Yeah, it's Festus. Okay. Number 2. What did Festus say to Agrippa when Agrippa asked to hear Paul's defense? You can hear him today. You can hear him tomorrow. You can hear him next week. You can hear him next month.
Today.
I have no idea.
Remember that at all?
Today, tomorrow, next week, or next month. So it's not. It's either today or tomorrow. Because he didn't. I don't think he stayed there for next week or next month.
Yeah.
Let's go tomorrow.
I don't think.
Yeah, I'll say tomorrow.
I'm staying with today.
I think I'm with Mike today.
Switch to
kind of
today
split.
just to
Ben, you
go
got
ahead and bandwagon on that one. 'Cause
All
I
right,
have
move
no
a
idea.
bandwagon. So we're going to
Move
today.
a bandwagon. I
Next
have
month,
no
just
idea.
to cause division.
Okay. Who was Agrippa's wife?
Mrs.
Beryl, Barris, Beatrice, Bernice.
Beatrice.
Yeah, Beatrice.
Beatrice.
Okay, I think it's Bernice, but we'll go with Beatrice. Number 4, Festus told King Agrippa that many of the Jews had dealt with him concerning Paul, that he ought to be ordained as the first pontiff, ought to be canonized as a saint, ought to not live any longer, ought not to take the livelihood from other tent makers in the city.
I guess
That's not living any longer.
Not live any longer?
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall the word pontiff in the book. Of
I'm pretty sure pontiff is
Not
yeah.
pontiff.
And canonized
That's
as
Peter's job.
saint.
Come on.
Tent makers, that's not the right place.
Wrong place for tent makers.
So not live any longer seems like our only option.
Yeah.
I guess.
Process
See how it
elimination, that
goes.
one.
What was Festus hoping to achieve by having Paul appear before Agrippa? A. Festus was hoping that Agrippa would condemn Paul to death. Festus hoped that Agrippa would find Paul innocent and would free him immediately. Festus thought that Paul had done nothing worth of death and wanted something to write to Caesar about him. Festus wanted to see what Agrippa would do with Paul.
Say B.
Hoped that he would find him innocent and free him immediately.
Yes.
No, I don't think that was the deal.
Hoped he would condemn him to death, free him immediately. Thought that he had done nothing worthy of death and wanted to write to Caesar.
Wait.
And wanted to see what he would do with Paul.
I think it's right to Caesar.
I'm gonna go with C.
Right to Caesar?
Yeah, because I think if I recall right, Festus he knew it was a problem, but he didn't know how he was going to handle it because Paul was Roman, and so he wanted someone higher up than him to do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
King Agrippa. No, the King Agrippa's coming to Festus.
Right.
Yeah, Festus wanted Agrippa to do the heavy lifting.
Okay. 6. What special privilege did Paul have granted to him in the hearing? The king's servant took him water. He sat with the king at the table. He was able to have a defense lawyer. He was able to speak for himself. He was able to speak for himself.
Speak for himself.
Yeah, Paul does not farm out the gospel. Number 7. How did Paul feel about talking to King Agrippa? He was ecstatic. He was happy. He was afraid. He was terrified.
Ecstatic.
Happy.
I don't think either one of them words were in there.
He was afraid.
Seems like a personal
No,
opinion.
I think he said he was happy to speak to him.
Okay, happy.
All right, happy. So, number 8. What did Paul tell Agrippa he was on trial for? For the hope of the promise God made to our forefathers? For failure to observe the Sabbath? For punishing the Christians in every synagogue and compelling them to blaspheme? For claiming that Jesus had spoken to him in Hebrew?
A.
Yeah,
Hope
It's
of
the hope.
hope of the promise. Okay. Number 9. Where did Paul tell Agrippa he went to first after Jesus had spoken to him? Jerusalem, Damascus, coast of Judea, the Gentile nations.
Damascus.
Any no, everybody's good there?
Yeah.
Okay. 10. What question did Paul ask King Agrippa? Do you believe what I'm telling you? Do you believe the prophets? Do you believe in the resurrection of the dead? Do you believe that Jesus was the Christ, the Son of the living God?
Wait, read those again?
Do you believe what I'm telling you? Do you believe the prophets? Do you believe in the resurrection of the dead? Do you believe that Jesus was the Christ, the Son of the living God? I think it's the prophets. What do you think it is? Do you believe what I'm telling you?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, we'll go with A. I think it's do you believe the prophets? Because I think
I actually think Ben's right.
I think it's
Do you believe
it's a
the
Herod who has some claim of king of the Jews, and so like he's making a case with him.
Right.
That's why I think it's to believe the prophets. But we'll
Okay.
we'll leave it as A. Number 11. What did Agrippa say to Paul to show him that he was impressed with what he heard? Almost thou persuadest me to become a Christian. See, here is water. What doth hinder me to be baptized?
It's A.
Okay.
Almost.
Almost persuaded me to become a Christian.
In a good King James.
12. What reason did Agrippa give to Festus for not setting Paul free? Agrippa had taken money from the chief priest to see
He
Paul was
appealed to
convicted.
Caesar.
Paul had already appealed to Caesar for hearing. That's D.
Yeah, D.
Okay.
Eric, give the rest of us a shot.
Ready?
Oh, sorry.
Here we go. See what goes on here.
34%.
Okay, here we go. Number 1. What was the purpose of King Agrippa's trip to Caesarea? We said to salute Festus. That is correct. What did Festus say to Agrippa when Agrippa asked to hear Paul's defense? We said you can hear him today. That was incorrect. It's you can hear him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Number 3. Who was King Agrippa's wife? We said Beatrice. That is incorrect. It is Bernice.
You were right, Ben.
Number 4. Festus told King Agrippa that many of the Jews had dealt with him concerning Paul, that he, we said, ought not to live any longer. That is correct. Number 5. What was Festus hoping to achieve by having Paul appear before Agrippa? We said Festus thought that Paul had done nothing worth of death and wanted something to write to Caesar about him, and that is correct. Number 6. What special privilege did Paul have granted to him in the hearing? We said he was able to speak for himself. That is correct.
Is that not normal?
If he wasn't a Roman citizen, he wouldn't be allowed. And Furthermore, he's speaking before the king. That's something that only the king grants.
But he was a Roman citizen.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see. How did Paul feel about talking to King Agrippa? We said he was happy, and that is correct. Question 8. What did Paul tell Agrippa he was on trial for? He said, for the hope of the promise God made to our forefathers. That is correct. Number 9. Where did Paul tell? In fact, that will be telling to our incorrect answer in question 10. He's made a case to the forefathers. It's going to be the prophets. Number 9, where did Paul tell Agrippa he went to first after Jesus had spoken to him? We said Damascus. That is correct. Question 10, what question did Paul ask King Agrippa? We said, do you believe what I am telling you? That is incorrect. The correct answer is, do you believe the prophets? Question 11, what did Agrippa say to Paul to show him that he was impressed with what he heard? We said, almost thou persuadest me to become a Christian. And that is correct. And 12, what reason did Agrippa give to Festus for not setting Paul free? We said Paul had already appealed to Caesar for a hearing, and that is also correct. We answered 9 of 12 questions correctly for a score of 75%. Quiz has been taken 5,000 times since March of 2007, and the average score is 66%.
Yeah,
66%.
we beat
Above
the
average.
Yeah, still a failing
We
grade.
beat the. I hate to tell this to you boys, but if we'd have gone my way on 2 of those, we'd have been 11 to 12. Let's see. You want to take another one?
Sure.
Let's do Nebuchadnezzar.
Yes.
We will dominate Nebuchadnezzar.
Oh, no. All right, go ahead.
Only 7 questions. Here we go. Nebuchadnezzar was king of what city?
No options.
Okay. King of what city?
Anybody know without the options?
Babylon.
Babylon.
Yeah.
Okay, Babylon. Which king of Judah was taken to Babylon in fetters by Nebuchadnezzar?
Zedekiah, I believe.
That sounds right.
Mike, Bubba?
Zedekiah is indeed an option.
It is an option. Quit peeking back there.
I can barely read it.
You're not allowed to do
Doesn't
it.
Hey,
give
man, I
the
gotta
answer,
do
it
this with
just gives the
options.
choices.
I'm not to the level those gentlemen are. I need options.
Jehoiakim, Jehoiachin, Zedekiah, Jehoahaz.
That help, Bubba?
Well, I know that eliminated 2 of them, and Zedekiah was one of the ones that didn't get eliminated, so I'll go with it.
I think it is Zedekiah. I think Jehoiakim was in place after that. I think he was one of them puppet gentlemen. Who was the commander Nebuchadnezzar ordered to put his wise men to death?
Eos. Or Eosh, or something like that.
You want the options on this one?
Yeah.
Ashpenaz, Azariah, Mishael, Arioch.
Ariel. That's it.
Anybody else?
No.
What was the first one?
Ashpenaz.
No.
You trying to get me to use a bad language on the radio, Boo, and I don't appreciate it. All right, we're going with Arioch? Okay, number 4. In Nebuchadnezzar's dream of a tree, what did the tree represent?
His kingdom.
Him. Or him and his kingdom.
Is it him or his kingdom, Boova? Boova
Uh,
only.
Well, so it was, I'm trying to think of it. It was reaching towards the sky. Had, great branches that all the animals were able to get shade under and all the good stuff. So it's kingdom. Yeah.
Kingdom?
Yeah.
Any disagreements? Everybody in for kingdom? Do you want the options?
What are the options?
Nebuchadnezzar. Sorry, in Nebuchadnezzar's dream of a tree, what did the tree represent? Nebuchadnezzar, a future kingdom, the Jews, the Assyrians.
No, because it didn't
It's
represent
him.
the future kingdom. Yeah, it's him because then it talks about like being laid low, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, and then talk about
But
him
then
getting
he'd
like
be
wet
restored.
with the dew of the
The
grass and stuff like that.
the
so,
tree ends up having long fingernails and eating stuff off the
Yeah,
ground.
it's him
the
personally.
mind of a beast. It's him.
Yeah.
Because the kingdom continued on during that period.
Right.
Okay. Number 5. What did King Nebuchadnezzar first do when Daniel interpreted his dream? You want the options? Or are you gonna
Wait, when Daniel first his first dream, so he immediately praised God, didn't he? Is that one of the options?
do you
I'm
want
trying-
the options or
I'm
don't
trying-
you?
I'm trying to do this at you guys' level, and I'm just thinking, hey man, whatever. I need options.
Okay. What did King Nebuchadnezzar first do when Daniel interpreted his dream? He had his wise men put to death. He banished Daniel from his presence. He fell on his face and worshipped Daniel. He worshipped the God of Daniel.
I think he worshipped the God of Daniel.
Yeah, the wise men was a threat before Daniel
I was
showed
gonna
up.
say.
6. How tall was the golden idol erected by Nebuchadnezzar?
90 feet.
Can I get that in cubits?
30 cubits.
90 cubits.
9 cubits,
Wait, hang on.
90 cubits, 6 cubits, 60 cubits.
I want to say 9 cubits. That doesn't sound right to me.
No, it was.
Why would you want to say the wrong thing? Boo?
Well, because what I'm saying is that's the first thing that popped in my head was 9
Just
cubits.
want to do it.
Well, that's the thing.
you really
want
want to say the wrong
right.
answer?
So it's got to
maybe
be
it
one
is
of the
90
bigger
cubits.
numbers, right? Like
90 cubits.
What's a cubit?
About 1.5 feet.
Oh, yeah. It's got to be 90.
90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like up on
Holy cats, 90. So a foot and a half. That'd be 120
It's a
foot
nine-
tall.
Actually, it might be 60 cubits.
That'd be 90 foot tall.
Yeah. What? Yeah, it's about a 9-story building.
Okay, what do we think? 60 cubits?
Yeah, Herrick seems to.
Based off of confidence, I'm going to go for 60 cubits.
Hold on. Buva, what was the wrong answer again?
9 cubits.
It's like a
I'm
basketball hoop.
100% certain that the answer that came to my head was incorrect.
Number 7. Who became king of Babylon after Nebuchadnezzar?
According to what source?
Here we go. I'll give you the options. Daniel, Shadrach,
No.
Belshazzar,
Belshazzar.
or David.
Belshazzar.
Belshazzar.
And that's
son.
he's distinct from Belteshazar, right?
Yeah, because that was
Belshazzar is
Daniel's
That's Daniel.
Babylonian name.
Okay. All right, Belshazzar. Here we go. Oh man, I feel like we should have. We may be either overconfident or underconfident on this thing. Oh my. Number 1, Nebuchadnezzar was king of what city? We said Babylon. That is correct. Which king of Judah was taken to Babylon in fetters by Nebuchadnezzar? My confidence was misplaced in Zedekiah. The answer is Jehoiakim.
Yeah.
Yep. Question
I
3.
almost fought that. But
Zedekiah was the guy put on the throne to replace him.
Yeah, shoot. Who was the commander Nebuchadnezzar ordered to put his wise men to death? We said Arioch. That is correct. Number 4, in Nebuchadnezzar's dream of a tree, what did the tree represent? We said Nebuchadnezzar, and that is correct. Number 5, what did Nebuchadnezzar do first when Daniel interpreted his dream? We said he worshipped the God of Daniel. That is incorrect.
Worshiped Daniel.
He fell on his face and worshipped Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel 2, hold on.
He worshipped the god of Daniel after the second dream, didn't he?
Let's see, in the, hold on, let's do it in the,
Daniel probably corrected him after that.
For as much as thou sawest that a stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces, the great God hath made known. Let's see. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him.
Gross.
Remind me not to
gift.
read the ASV.
And sweet odors onto him. Sounds like an awful situation.
I want to remember that little term.
Bring in the odors.
He
gave him-
interpreted my dream.
It's
Bring in
expensive
the odors.
spices and perfumes.
Make him smell good.
It sounds better when you say it. Expensive spices and perfume.
Hey, man, bring in the sweet odors. Sounds way more like what happened.
Cheryl, I'm about to offer sweet odors unto you.
That sounds like a Nebuchadnezzar thing to do. Hey, man, this dude just straight up interpreted that dream. Bring in the odors.
Here's where that's kind of cool, though. In the context, you bring in incense when in the form of a worship setting. So
Yeah.
here's what he's doing: is he's basically bringing this in to honor Daniel instead
Make that
of
dude
gods.
smell good.
Hey, we don't do that though. Should we? I mean,
bring a can of
this is
Axe around with me?
this is a semi-serious question. But like, is there something to bringing sense into the worship?
I like it.
Like modern day, can we get one of those things that
A censer.
yeah, the thing they swing back and forth.
Let's do it.
Okay, I got oils.
Try the government auctions.
Wait, 3 of the 5, we didn't hear from Mike. You're all kind of for that? Why?
I am. It's just there's going to be a lot of people that are going to complain about it who have
And be very
allergies
confused.
whatnot.
I would do incense, but I figured the fire alarms would go off.
I was gonna put actually I had fully intended to put some frankincense on the furnace filters when we put them in, but that can get a little stiff, so it's just not a good idea. But yeah, okay.
Why?
What, you don't
I
like
get
that, Bubba?
biblically why they did it, but like why? Why would you guys do it? To make the place smell different.
No, that's why I asked the question.
Like it smells like vanilla odor. Yeah, and 3 of you were all on board. That's why I'm asking the question on top of your question.
Troy, why do we have drums
Yeah. That's music.
and a projector?
Digging on it. So people can read the screen, like read the music?
Well, so if they had if they did music and stuff at times, it reflected of worship to God.
None of those are necessary elements for
You're
worship.
being led
That
like
is
a
very
horse,
true. You're
Bubba.
Right.
Just heads up. He's picking off senses one at a time.
Likewise, incense is not a necessary
Right.
element, but it's a useful element
4?
for worship.
Buva wants to know more.
Well, no, like I understand. I get what it is, but
Well, so here's I think pointing back to Dave's thing. Then why does music not weird you out, but the thought of ascent does?
Well, so music, I suppose, is what I'm used to and what I grew up with. So that's probably why I don't find that as startling. But
Okay.
like, I just don't see how. I mean, maybe people get into incense and I can't see it because I've never done it. So that's where I'm
Just using all the senses.
at. God smells like vanilla.
Well, all right. You come from an education background.
Oh, tell
so,
me.
An education background.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
You have somewhat level of training in terms of education.
Oh,
You
great.
know that
Let's
the
not
more
call that out.
different types of learning styles that you can engage with your lesson, the more likely the student is to retain it. Similarly, with
Same
worship,
here,
the more the more senses involved, more
Okay.
likely they are to engage as a person.
For quite a while, we were consistently using sandalwood in the prayer room, just to make a trigger of. So anytime you smell sandalwood, anytime I do, I go back to the prayer room.
All right. Actually, I just did a quick search to see if they had like scents or odors in the Bible, because actually it happens a lot more than I think you know.
Yeah.
Even the stuff that Jesus has given at his birth, the nard, the like all the things that are surrounding burial, like there's a lot of odor driven things, and it just isn't something that we engage in,
Right.
But it's something that this doesn't mean that Christians don't engage in, like that censer thing. I mean, it does do something when the guy walks down the aisle and swings it, right?
Oh, yeah,
and
the
we were
place
actually
smells nice.
we were actually talking about this as a church staff. Just it was today. We were talking about the some of the stuff that like we've disassociated with a little bit, like high church stuff. Because there were abuses in a system, or because it isn't expressly stated as something you always have to do in the Bible, doesn't mean that it's necessarily wrong. And so, like, what are some of the things that go on that maybe we have rebelled against, or just haven't done, that are still they're perfectly fine things? We just need to you just don't worship them. You don't make it. You don't worship the process. And so, like, presence of sense. We were talking about. We've never done anything for like Maundy Thursday. For the communion just prior to when Jesus is arrested. And so, like, I thought, Maundy Thursday, what the heck is that? I don't want to be tied into this Honda High Church Maundy Thursday business. But like, we got to talking about it, and like what they're pointing to and what you're remembering are cool things. They're biblical. They're the stories of Christ and communion. So like, yeah, that's cool. So some of that stuff I think we can pull out of the rafters, and it may not need redeemed. We just kind of put it on a shelf and said it didn't have a function. I think you got to be careful with those things and not don't baptize it, but like, you know, they can't. They're not necessarily wrong things, and so it's just interesting those types of things we can engage. And so when we talk about sense, I wouldn't even know how to go about it. I don't know, like, does it matter what it is? Although, what's the big deal? The essential oil companies, what is it? Young's Living will not sell you. There's one oil that they won't sell you because they don't want you to make the special oil that was in the tabernacle.
The high holy of holies.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. So like, because the Bible tells you what scents go into that. And the Young's Living Essential Oil Corporation will not sell you one of the oils so that you don't make it. And so like, there was something about it. I don't know enough to speak to it, but like, it's just an interesting thing that says there's something about sense that we've completely kind of disassociated with anything that we do, and I'm interested. So,
Okay, fair enough.
let's finish our quiz. How tall was the golden idol? We said 60 cubits. That is correct. And question 7, who became king of Babylon after Nebuchadnezzar? We said Belshazzar, and that is also correct. We answered 5 out of 7 questions correctly for a score of 72%. Quiz has been taken 15,000 times since 2004, and the average score for the quiz was 53%.
Yeah, buddy.
We know our Nebuchadnezzar 20% better than the average test taker. All right. Mike, you got one more over there?
I do.
Did you go to sleep?
No. Hang on. Dear Life from the Path, my boyfriend Jimmy and I have been together for 2 years. After about 4 months, out of necessity, we moved in together and it was great. Not long afterward, I got a job 2 hours away. Since I moved, we get to see each other only every 2 or 3 weeks. The separation has been tough, but we're together, everything is perfect, and all is right with the world. I feel we are fated to be together. Before the move, Jimmy and I often talked about marriage, and although I'm not crazy about it, I knew it meant a lot to him, so I proposed, ring and all. He initially said yes, then sort of asked me to take back my proposal. Since then, he has been avoiding all discussions about our future, and I don't know what to do. I'm willing to quit my job and go back to be with him, but I'm scared he's going to get cold feet. Obviously, I'm hopeless in love with him, but now I'm feeling lost and confused.
I have a few questions about this story. Does anybody else have any questions about the story?
Yeah.
Is your question about the identity and gender of the person involved?
For one,
Okay.
A little bit.
but like she said, she wasn't jazzed about the idea. Proposed. I said, wait. I'm just assuming it's a woman. Even if it's a dude, doesn't matter.
Why not?
Other party proposes, but isn't jazzed about it, and then the other because it's important to the second party. This is what makes marriage license difficult in those states. So, and then second party says, can you take it back? And then now they're not talking.
Second party has another person.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First party moved away 2 hours. It's gonna happen.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's true. Right, if they were that jazzed about marriage, party B would have moved.
Yeah. Guess what? You're no longer exclusive.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So no advice here, except for move. It's move on.
Yeah, it's a dead-on relationship. You need to cut it off.
You know, maybe we should start doing the proposals on the first date. You know what I'm saying? At least you get to know where people are at. So you take them out and you say, look, will you eventually marry me? Yeah. All right, well, let's have date number 2 then.
Oh,
If the answer is no, then be like, well, it's nice getting to know you.
I'm all for that.
We're
I
going
feel
to
like
go.
this is going nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, at least get some. I mean, wouldn't you just want to know that right off the gate? Look, are you interested in marrying me? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's keep dating and see if we're heading towards the same area here. We should start asking right off the gate.
I think that's a fair question to ask somebody.
I mean,
Or statement to make.
I'm not sure first date, but maybe second. But
No, because that's just the kind of guy you are. They at least ought to know who they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't date just anybody. Or maybe they didn't date me. Something like that.
Well, it's because you kept asking them to marry you on the first date, man. Freaks people out.
It also might be your poor mic etiquette.
Oh, it could be. Yes, it could be.
Thanks, Dan.
I mean, okay, on the first date, I could see saying, yeah, I'm looking for marriage in general, but I wouldn't want to on the first date say, oh yeah, you seem like a really good candidate. That just, it's not enough information.
Well, I mean, if they
for the
don't
first
seem
date.
like a good candidate, I wouldn't say that.
It's like, hey,
don't
does
have
your
enough
dad have any
information.
goats?
Yeah, right. How would you know
With
whether they're a
one
good
date.
candidate? But, except for
Here's
your-
the deal: the fact that they have marriage in mind, that gets them past most people.
Here's why I disagree with first date marriage talk, and I agree with Herrick on this. Because some people just stick with the first date out of obligation. If they think you're a creeper or generally look like a naked mole rat, from like the beginning of date 1, they'll normally wait till the end of date 1 and then just won't talk to you ever again.
Right.
Okay? If they have decided to go on date number 2 with you, that means that they found you at least either attractive or interesting enough to come back a second time. Then it's understandable to have that
and then you can
conversation.
get the measure twice left wanting.
I guess I'm assuming you've known this person a little bit
twice
before you
left on
date. So, like, if you like, is that like your first meeting? That would be different.
No, see, I feel like you're just doubling down on the game of dating, when really you should just say, "Hey, will you marry me?"
Now, hold on a second. Can't you just say, I mean, does it have to be you specifically?
Yeah.
I feel like if you propose to someone on the first date, you're just exercising poor judgment.
Well, you
I
could have a
didn't
conversation.
say I want you to marry me. I'm just asking, would you be willing to do it?
I don't know enough about you to answer that.
Well, then I feel like we're not going out again.
No. Okay. So, baby, are
Hold
you?
on, me and Herrick are going through a breakup here. Just let that settle.
Let's hear how this plays out.
No, we're not. I just don't know enough about you yet to commit to.
I'm not
Getting
saying
married
that
yet.
we have to get married tomorrow. I'm just saying, is there a possibility you'd be eventually interested in marrying me?
Possibility? Sure.
Well, let's go on another date and see where this goes.
All right, I agree.
So me and Herrick are back together.
Still creepy.
What are you doing in May?
Eric's moving 2 hours away, Mike.
And you're no longer exclusive.
I feel like that's not a problem. He's told me his interest. Secular says, please allow me to offer some clarity. Do not quit your job, because if you do, you may find yourself not only without a job, but also without a place to stay. When someone, man or woman, asks that a proposal be rescinded, it usually means the person feels he or she may have jumped the gun by saying yes. Jimmy is avoiding all discussion about your future because he doesn't want one. And he's afraid to say it directly because he knows it will hurt your feelings. Why would you want to marry a coward anyway?
Yeah.
For your own sake, have an honest conversation with him about this. It may be painful, but it'll be better than living in limbo the way you are. As the saying goes, when a door closes, another one opens.
Does Secular actually call him a coward, or was that Mike throwing in
feel like
an
that was Mike.
editorial?
It doesn't matter. I mean,
Some reason to go into this. Hey, and that phrase is not true. Like, if you're being locked into prison, when one door shuts, there are no other opportunities. So, I mean, you just need to consider what circumstance you're actually in. Okay. Yeah, no, I think that guy's done for. Okay, here's the deal: is people get engaged for long periods of time, right? Some people drag that stuff out, and so if someone goes, not only do I want to like wait to actually set the marriage date, but like I want you to take it back so it's not even on the table anymore. Like that's done. That circumstance is done for you. That's not happening anymore. All right, you've been listening to Live from the Path. Thanks for hanging out with us so far this evening. And if you'd like to continue listening to the program, you can't do it here. You're going to have to go to the website. Go to livefromthepath.org. Hey, check out our most recent interview with Tim Timmons. And his new album, Awake Our Souls, is out. It's a good album. We did an album. There's like a review of sorts. Basically, we'll go through and tell you what we heard, and then you can decide whether you like it or not. But go check out that review under the stuff we like on the website, and the interview with Tim. It's a 20-minute interview. He's a sweet cat, and you can check that out right on the front page at livefromthepath.org. In the meantime, be faithful in the means, and God will handle the ends. You've been listening to Live from the Path.